Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today in this video we are going to explore few of the CSS properties like display, opacity and visibility. So if you are new here, please consider subscribing so you won't miss any future updates. Now let's start the video. Yes, as you can see, I have created display and opacity.html file into my CSS folder, and let's create a HTML boilerplate with the shortcut Shift 1, which is exclamation mark, and then click there and it will generate this. So let's change this to display, the title, and let's open into the previewer as well so we can see the live changes. So what is display property in CSS? So with the display property, you can change the block level or line level of the tag. Okay, so if you don't know about what is block level and what is line level, you can go to the HTML video which is just pop up and you can just check what are those. Okay, so let's suppose if we have h2, which is a header tag, I'll say this is my title. Okay, so right now this is a block level tag. So this property, which is like by default property as block, right, that you can change to inline. Okay, so inline in the sense, if I take label 1, and if I take one more label as label 2, you can see it is coming in a one line. Okay, this is the inline. Okay, but h2 is a block level, that's why the label 1 and label 2 is coming into the next line. Okay, so let's see how we can change the block level of the h2 and as well as the label, and it will be applied to the other tags as well. Okay, so let's create a style tag first, and here I'll take directly h2 and write display. Okay, and here you can see we have so many properties in that. Okay, so but today we are going to see inline first. So once I do inline, now you see the label are coming into the same line. Okay, so it means the h2 block is changed now. Okay, the h2 block level is changed to inline. Okay, so earlier by default it will be a block level, but now as I have changed display to inline, the h2 we can see it's a inline property or inline block level. Okay, and similar to that, if I do label and if I do display block, okay, now you see both labels are coming into the next line because both are having the block level now. By default they will have inline level, now they have block level. Okay, that's why they are coming into the next line. Okay, so we saw how display property works. Now let's see how opacity will work. Okay, so for opacity, I'll going to create an image and I'll be providing the src, which is a HTTP link or image, and you can see this is the image I got. So opacity generally we use on the hover effect or something like that to blur this thing. Okay, if you want to blur this image or the visibility of that time we use the opacity. Okay, so let's target the image tag directly and let's apply the opacity. So opacity works between 0 to 1. Okay, so if you want to provide like 0.3, 0.4, so up to 1, okay, it will work. If you do 0, it will be hidden completely. Okay, let's do 0.7 first. Now you see it's little bit blur. If I do 0.3, it's like now you can't even see that. Okay, so if I do directly 0, that time it's completely hidden. Okay, it will be here only, but it's completely hidden because the opacity is 0. Okay, so with this opacity you can show images like this. Okay, so generally as I said, it will be on hover effect. So let's do on hover effect. So whenever I hover over it, it should be showing us the opacity 0.4. Okay, so now you see the opacity. So this kind of effect you can create with the opacity. Yes, so we saw opacity, how it works, how we can do or use opacity. Now let's check what is visibility and how we can use that. Okay, for that I will create a div by class name as container, and for this container let's create few CSS. Like I want the width as 100 pixel, and height as well we want 100 pixel, and let's apply some color as like yellow, I guess. Yeah, now you can see we got this box over here. Okay, so on this box let's try to apply visibility property. Yes, so I will just add some margin so it will be in here. Yep, so visibility property, you can it is also similar to the display, but it will not going to change block level. Okay, inline or block, it will not going to change, but with this you can hide or make it visible. Okay, so that you can do. So if I do hidden, it will be hidden. Okay, and if I do visible, it will be visible. So by default property will be visible, which is by default for the visibility. But if you want to change it to something else, you have hidden and inherits and also that we don't want to see. But hidden is the one which we can use. Okay, in order to like do that, like once you click on button, that should be visible. If you don't click on button, that should not be visible. That time you can use visibility property. Okay, so now we saw all these three properties how we can use. Let's see what is the difference between this. Okay, so as we saw all the properties how we can use display, opacity and visibility, let's see the difference between all three of them. Okay, so here I have created simple containers where you can see I have just h3 tag and as well as the button. Okay, so on this button we are going to try the CSS and let's see the difference of this. Okay, so I have for all of them, I have the container, same container to see this like the border and this in the center to look better or like to understand it better. Okay, that's why I have created this container and I have applied few CSS on that, just like border, weight, margin, top to say, get some gap between all of those boxes as well as the padding and the text alignment center to get it in the center. Okay, so let's apply display, opacity and visibility on the buttons and let's check how it will work. Okay, so for button, as container is the same class, if I do container and button, right, it will apply for all of the buttons. So let's have separate class names for this one, btn1, btn2, and let's apply those CSS. Okay, so I'll be changing the class names for buttons. Okay, 3. Now let's apply btn1 display none property. Okay, so now you see, as soon as I applied that, the space is gone and the button is gone. Okay, once I click here, the space, like the button is coming, but like once you display none, once you make the display none, the space of this is also gone. Okay, space in the sense like this is the this particular space is occupied. Okay, so if I apply this, it's gone. Okay, the space is gone for that. Let's see for the opacity how it will work. Okay, so dot btn2 and this not display, opacity we want, opacity 0. Okay, now you see, uh, once I apply opacity 0 to the button 2, the space, like the button is gone, button is not visible to us, but the space is still there. Okay, but in the case of display, if we do display none, the space will gone, but in the case of opacity, the space will still be there. Okay, so that's the difference between display and the opacity. Okay, let's apply for the btn3 as well, the visibility property, and let's check the difference as well. Okay, so btn3 and visibility hidden. Okay, now you see, once I do visibility hidden for the button 3, the button is gone, but the space is still there. Okay, so the difference between visibility and display, we can say the space will not going to be removed from the visibility, but from display the space will remove. Okay, but what is the difference between opacity and visibility, that we can check using the cursor property. Okay, so cursor property is nothing but once you go here, right, now you see, if I go on text, the eye cursor is coming. If I have here the cursor, normally it's an arrow. Okay, so that cursor we can change using the cursor property. So I'll be changing the cursor to the pointer. Okay, I'll show what is pointer. Let's apply on the whole div, the container, and you see the hand symbol is coming. This is the cursor pointer property. Okay, so I am going to apply on all the buttons. Okay, and let's see the difference between opacity and visibility. Okay, so now you see, I will hover over this button. So opacity, once I do 0 and hover over here, you see the pointer is still there, okay? But in the case of visibility, the pointer is not coming, the arrow is there. What it means is, once you do visibility hidden, the button will gone, only the space will be there, okay? But once you do opacity 0, the button visibility is gone, but not the button is still there. That's why we are getting this pointer over there, okay? So that is the difference between opacity and visibility, okay? So yes, this is about display, opacity and visibility. So in this video, we saw how these properties will work and how we can apply these properties, and also we saw what is the difference between all these properties. So thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, please consider subscribing to the channel and give it a thumbs up. I'll be back with more content in the next video. Thank you.